Place your bets, you jackwagons. Brad the Big Noise Evans here on a solo mission. Nathaniel Luna will be back with me on Monday. Right now, he has got his butt on an airplane flying to my neck of the woods here in the rainy, windy city of Chicago, Illinois. Safe travels there, amigo. Let's go ahead and get into this podcast because you demand picks. We got a football rich show packed for you today, and I'll get some action on the college hardwood and a marquee matchup on this Friday as well. So let's belly up to the bar and order a shot of Jaeger for the entire crowd and try to make some college cash, my favorite championship weekend play. And it's other than living in the land down under on Iowa and Michigan. That number sitting at 35.5 with a minus 110 juice there at BetMGM. As I've jokingly said all week long, sorry, Clark. The gift that keeps on giving is not the Jelly of the Month Club. It's betting on the unders with Iowa football this season, given their massive shortcomings in offense and their outstanding defense. Yes, I realize they're going to have some key players out on the defensive side in this game, and Michigan has all kinds of motivation. Jim Harbaugh's going to be back on the sidelines. Obviously, they have aspirations of winning a national title and solidifying their position among the top four in the college football playoff. Michigan, number 6 in EPA per play offense, number 7 in EPA per play defense. Iowa, an atrocious number 129 in EPA offense on the season, but quite respectable, stiff and stout number 16 in defense. Iowa's hit the under in 8 of 9 Big Ten matchups this season. Michigan has actually gone over this 35.5 number in all 9 Big Ten affairs this year. But I got a feeling this is going to be like 22-3. Maybe Iowa somehow musters 6. It is a true story that the over-under is a half a point on every single quarter scoring line for the Hawkeyes. But for Rince and friends, they keep this somewhat snug. And again, 23-6 feels about right. That's 29 points, well south of the 35.5. That is certainly sitting right now at BetMGM. So under in the Big Ten championship game between the Wolverines and the Hawkeyes, 35.5, minus 110 at BetMGM. With that on the board, let's get after it with an NFL-packed edition of the Fade 5. Numero 5 on the countdown. Let's go back to a well that I drank from because the waters were oh so sweet tasting. I took the over last week at a plus 130 juice on this Michael Pittman prop. The juice in minus territory, and it's understandable, but I'm going to go back and splash back into that well. So give me the over 6.5 receptions for the Gun Show Jr. Against the Tennessee Titans, not at Indy. That's who he plays for. Let me go ahead and correct that there on screen at a minus 115 juice there at DraftKings Sportsbook. And the reason being why I love this prop, you look at Michael Pittman Jr., he has been the definition of a targets hog, 10.1 looks per game that he is seeing on the season. And on top of that, he's averaging 6.9 receptions per game, so just north of this number. Number 6 in total route wins. He's hit the over in 5 of his last 6 games, and he's gone over specifically in 4 straight contests, make it 5 in a row. I think the trend will be thy friend. Why? Sean Murphy-Bunting is who he's going to see primarily in coverage for this Titans defense. He's given up a 65.5 catch rate to his assignments. 8 wide receivers in total have grabbed at least 7 balls against Tennessee this season, who is dipped now to number 31 on the year in pass EPA defense. So you throw the high volume of Michael Pittman, the fact that Minshew has tunnel vision specifically for his A1 target, and how friendly the Tennessee Titans are defensively via the pass. I say Michael Pittman hits the over 6.5 receptions in Tennessee, minus 115, available at DraftKings. Moving on Numero cuatro here on the Fade 5 countdown today. Kittles and Bits or some Skittles, rainbow flavor. Put it in my mouth. I say George Kittle scores an anytime touchdown in the city of brotherly shove against the Philadelphia Eagles. Plus 185, best odds in business right now at ESPN Bet. Yeah, work the shoulders and get seduced by that juice. You look at the Eagles. They have had their issues defending the pass, to say the least, this season. They are one of 6 teams that have allowed the most tight end touchdowns in the league this year, at 6 to be exact. And you look at Kittle, number 8 in red zone targets, number 4 in yards after the catch, number 1 as well in yards per target. He scored a touchdown in 2 of the last 3. And a game with maybe some high scoring there on the menu out east. I say he spikes one home yet again. So give me George Kittle anytime touchdown against the Eagles. Plus 185 at ESPN Bet. Moving on, numero tres here on the Fade 5 NFL Week 13 edition of the countdown. I'm on St. Brown, bow down and kiss thy ring. I'm going to take the over on 82.5 receiving yards against the New Orleans Saints. Are going to be down Marshawn Lattimore, mind you, minus 115 juice there at BetMGM. But it's all about the matchup out of the slot for Amon-Ra. The Sun God, I think, is going to scorch the competition because he's going to get a lot of Alontae Taylor, who's been quite beatable this season in coverage. Here are the numbers that support that sentiment. It's 66.7 catch rate allowed, 99.1 passer rating surrendered as well, and the 14th most yards allowed of any DB this season. So Alontae Taylor, again, I think is going to get burned by Amon-Ra St. Brown in this game. A guy similar to Michael Pittman is alluring just so many targets from the hand of Jared Goff, 10.8 per game to be exact. He is numero cinco in yards after the catch, number 7 in yards per route run, and has cashed the over on this 82.5 yards prop 7 times this year. New Orleans, they're number 11 in pass EPA defense, but they are hurting without their leader and stiff and stout quarterback. Really shuts down the opposition and Marshawn Lattimore. It'll be a trickle-down effect in a very negative way. Only 3 wide receivers have gone over this number, but I think Amon-Ra will get at least 85. Could flirt with 100 in this game, and all I need is 83 to cash. So get it done, St. Brown, and rev the engine for the Motor City. Numero dos on the Fade 5 NFL Week 13 countdown. Let's work at a little SGP and let's get some plus money on the board. And we're going to keep this very simple. Let's correlate, synergize, and bring it all together. Leg numero uno. And again, with a lot of pew, shootout appeal between the Commanders and Dolphins. Give me Sam Howell to chuck at least 38 pass attempts, and I'm going to match that with Miami to win straight up. So give me them on the money line. You put those two together, shockingly, it's plus money, plus 102, built there at ESPN Bet. You look at Howell. He is averaging a robust 40.5 attempts per game through the air. That is numero uno in the National Football League. He has hit the over on 37.5 pass attempts in 6 games this season. Meanwhile, you look at Miami and a team, number 3 in EP offense, number 17 as well, and pass attempts allowed at 34.75. Quarterbacks have thrown for at least 38 times against them this year. But again, he is on pace right now for 689 pass attempts, which doing a little history check would be number 6 all time. You know how bad the defense is for this Washington Commanders club. They have no pass rush. They've been quite beatable and susceptible in the back end. You got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle. The ground game and Devon Achane hopefully is going to look like his old self. It doesn't matter. Tua Tagovailoa is going to go off. Sam Howell's likely going to be dealing with a deficit in this game. This game could be like 35. It could be 40-20 in the end. And Howell will be forced to turn the air in an attempt to try to play catch up. So to recap on this SGP, Sam Howell, 38 plus pass attempts, and Miami on the money line, a cool plus 102 at ESPN Bet. Numero uno on the fade of 5 countdown today. Let's do another SGP. Let's get, please, more plus money on the board. I always have tickets in hand for the Hong Kong plus bus. And here's another reason why on this SGP. Give me Jordan Love, 3 or more rush attempts, and give me Patrick Mahomes to booty scoot for at least 15 or more rush yards. That's plus 138 there at ESPN Bet. Jordan Love, I think, could be sneaky good on the ground this game. If you want to substitute rush yards and really play the standard line on the over 14.5, I certainly do not hate that. Love is averaging north of 3 rush attempts per game, 3.4 to be exact on the year. He's hit north of this more than a handful of times, averaging 20.1 yards per game on the ground. What is important here is that Kansas City, his numero dos and pocket pressure rate, dialing up the heat on 27.5% of opponent dropbacks. They're also number 31 in rush EPA defense. So I think Love will read, react, and take advantage of some of those opportunistic opportunities, so to speak, when presented those right there in front of him. So I think he's going to scoot for at least 3 rush attempts. And if somehow Green Bay wins this game, kneel downs, remember, do count. As far as Patrick Mahomes goes, he has gone over this, I believe, 7 times this year. And similar to Kansas City, Green Bay is up there. They are top 10 in pocket pressure rate. So a nice little value here on the 15-plus rush yards for him. I think he is a guy that'll tuck, tail, and take off on a handful of times. And as a result, he may hit this early on in the game by halftime. All I need is 15 yards, and all I need are 3 rush attempts for Jordan Love. So, boys, forget the arm, work them legs. And if you do, plus 138 there at ESPN Bet. Oh, but I know what you want. You want some bonus time action. Gonna get to that here in a minute. First, let me outline the team Huevos Parlay play of the day. And it's Huevos Gigantes. Look at the juice on that. Oh, it's so sexy. It is mouth-watering. It is triggering the salivary glands. Much like a peppermint frosty from Wendy's. So on this SGP, going back to what I feel is going to be maybe the highest scoring game of the week between Washington and Miami. Give me Tyreek Hill. Climbing up on Tyreek Hill. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Peter Gabriel had some other songs. Anytime touchdown, Tyreek Hill, 87-plus receiving yards in the alt line market, and Miami on the money line. Shockingly, stunningly, unbelievably, plus 221 when you build that sucker at ESPN Bet. I already gave you all the reasons why I love Tyreek Hill this week, but I'll dive in a little bit deeper for you, whether he's working outside against Benjamin St-Juste, who's allowed a 107.8 passer rating, or inside out of the slot against Artavius Martin, who has given up a 102.1 passer rating on just 102 snaps played, along with an 88.3 catch rate. He is going to get the job done. Washington has allowed the most wide receiver yards this season at Tyreek. The nuts and bolts, 10.9 targets per game. Number 2 in total red zone targets. Number 1 in total yak. Number 1 in yards per route run. And numero uno as well in route win percentage. With that electric speed, all he does is get separation. And right now, in a rhythm and a flow, of course, as he has been in this historic campaign with Tua Tagovailoa, he is going to burn. He is going to scorch earth against Washington, no matter who is going to attempt to try to cover him. So I think he finds the end zone. I think he easily eclipses 87 yards on that alt line. And Miami, cherry on top of Sunday, gets the dub. Again, plus 221. Take my money, ESPN Bet. Elsewhere in bonus time, whatever the rush yards line, it's not available at tape time on Friday. On Taysom Hill is, I'm going to take the over against Detroit. As you saw on Thanksgiving Day, this Lions defense is really struggling and really struggling massively. Taysom Hill's getting a considerable run on the ground. The ultimate Swiss Army knife, getting it done through the air, getting it done as a passer on occasion. I think it's going to be a 5 to 7 attempts on the ground kind of game for him. So I'm guessing the Lions going to be around 18 and a half, maybe 19 and a half. I would play this up to like 23 and a half, quite honestly. I think he's going to have 24, 25 or more rush yards in that matchup against Detroit. So pay attention to that line. On this SGP, and come with me, all things Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler as well of the LA Chargers got to handle business against poor Bill Belichick, who's got a frown he cannot turn upside down right now, and for good reason, because his team royally stinks. You look at Keenan Allen. Let's go with this on the SGP. 80-plus receiving yards, 7 or more receptions for the slot du jour. And then spicing it up, give me Austin Eckler, 3+ receptions. That's plus 105 when built at BetMGM. Keenan Allen, 11.7 targets per game. Number 14 in catchable target rate. Number 7 in total air yards. Going to get a lot of Miles Bryant out of the slot. Oh, he's been so generous this season. 84.3 catch percentage allowed. 111.9 passer rating yielded as well. I think Keenan Allen easily coasts with the necessary 7 grabs and 80-plus yards. And meanwhile, you look at Austin Eckler. He's a guy that is one of the supreme checkdown options in the NFL. And, will catch a couple of passes on some design screens as well. He's averaging 19.3 routes per game, 3.6 receptions per game. He is at the over on this, and 5 of 8, the 3 or more catches. And New England has allowed 10 RBs to grab at least 3 passes against him, averaging what they are giving up, 4.8 receptions per game to the position. So to recap, Keenan Allen, 7 or more catches, 80-plus yards, and Austin Eckler, 3 or more catches, plus 105 there at BetMGM. Brandon Ayuk, love the over on receiving yards. I grabbed it at 60.5 at a minus 115 juice at DraftKings. Again, take it off Philadelphia. I like Kittle to go off this game, kind of like Brock Purdy, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. If you follow my spreadsheet at Noisy Huevos or the X, where I'm always trying to give it to you, I actually parlay Tua Tagovailoa over 1.5 passing TDs with Ain't He So Purdy over 1.5 passing TDs. Significant plus odds there available at DraftKings, wherever you like to place your parlay action. But specifically to Ayuk, Philadelphia has allowed 15 wide receivers to go north of 61 yards on the season through the air. They've allowed the 3rd most wide receiver yards. And big play Darius Slay, or not earn your payday, Darius Slay has allowed a 65.2% catch rate and the 12th most yards to his assignments, and that he is going to be primarily locking horns with Ayuk. Ayuk, number 6 in ADOT, number 2 in yards per route run, number 17 in YAC. He's hit the over on 60.5 receiving yards 5 times. Make it 6. Like that one quite a bit. And I also love Trey Palmer this week. Who? It's a slot guy, primarily so, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yar, shiver me timbers. And I'm not worried about Captain Hook because it's only 2.5 catches for him. A little bit juicy there, minus 130, but I'm going to pay that up. Maybe take that and slap it with something else you really like as a parlay to get it at plus money. But I like that over on 2.5 grabs against the Carolina Panthers. You look at Palmer, he's netted at least 25 routes run in 8 straight games. Now, during that stretch, he's only hit the over on 2.5 catches twice, but he's still seeing decent 4.6 targets per game. He has, though, I should correct myself, actually. He's got 3 or more receptions in 4 of his last 5. So he is becoming a kind of a favorite. Semi on and off. It's, still Mike Williams, still Chris Godwin, Kate Otten could have himself a nice game. But, you look at Carolina, he's got to see a lot of Hill there in coverage, primarily on the side. It was a lot of 63.2% catch rate. He is at the over on this, opposing receivers, I should say, is at the over on this 22 times. So I think Mr. Trey Palmer will grab at least 3 passes, minus 130 there. I acquired that wager at BetMGM. I tell you what, I'll work in one more SGP. All Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Najee Harris, 11 or more rush attempts. Pat Freiermuth coming off that huge game, 3 or more receptions. And Jalen Warren, 2 or more receptions against the Arizona Cardinals. All 3 of those hits, plus 168. Harris has hit the over on this in 8 of his last 9 games, averaging 13 attempts per game. He's still seeing around 55% of the opportunity share, though Jalen Warren is slowly chip away at that opportunity percentage. Meanwhile, Freiermuth has been over this in 3 of his last 4 games. Just went off in the box score last week. Arizona's allowed 4.1 receptions per game of the tight end position. 7 plus size targets have grabbed at least 3 passes against him. I think Freiermuth will work early and often with a lot of success across the middle of the field. Yet again, then Jalen Warren, he's getting 13.1 routes per game. He's at the over 2 or more catches in 10 of 11. And Arizona's allowed a dozen RBs to the over on this, and they've given up 4.8 receptions per game as well to the running back position. So all 3 of those you put together at ESPN bet, spicy, plus 168. And let's get some action on the college hardwood because we got a marquee matchup, a top 5 matchup, the UConn Huskies taking on Kansas at Fall, Gallinere, and Lawrence. And on this SGP, I'm going to take the spread up to plus 8.5 for the UConn Huskies, and I'm going to take the total sky high to 157.5 and hit that under. So on that 2-legger, even money, plus 100. You look at UConn, number 14 EFG offense, number 24 in EFG defense. Outstanding rebounding team because of Klingon, top 10 in the nation. And offensive rebounding percentage, top 10 in the nation. And defensive rebounding percentage. Meanwhile, Kansas, number 9 to EFG offense, number 14 EFG defense. But their bugaboos are turnovers and also free throws, where they're only netting 67.8%. UConn has the size to keep Hunter Dickinson fairly neutralized. I've watched this Kansas team several times, been so unimpressed with them. They had to squeak by Eastern Illinois, much to the delight of Tony Romo and probably Jimmy Garoppolo, Mike Shanahan as well, Sean Payton, the list goes on. So many football legends, not so many basketball names have come out of Charleston, Illinois, but you barely get by EIU for reals. I wonder, this team needs some more time, I think, to really come together and galvanize. They've just been kind of shockingly ho-hum here for much of the season. So SGP, UConn plus 8.5, and the under 157.5 at BetMGM plus 100 odds on that bad boy. Woo! I'm out of breath. I'm out of time. Don't forget to watch live on the line coming up on the Bally Sports RSNs and watchstadium.com/live. Watchstadium.com/live. We'll be breaking down the full slate of NFL games. Myself, Danny Klobuchar, Cameron Smith, all senior fun buns, Brandon Funston as well. So tune in to that show and check us every Monday through Friday starting at noon Eastern time. Also, do me a favor, if you enjoy this podcast, A, give me thumbs up on YouTube, and B, give us a rating and a review. Give us 5 stars. If you have the time, give us a quick review. We appreciate all the feedback. Good, bad, ugly, it doesn't really matter. You can also follow me on the X, again, where I'm always trying to give it to you. My free spreadsheet picks at Noisy Huevos. The struggle is through right now in college basketball. Hopefully, we're going to right the ship. Starting tonight, starting with UConn, damn it. Follow Lundy's spectacular hockey picks as well at Nate Lundy. Again, Lundy's going to be back with me on Monday. Until next time, good luck in your bets. And as always, feed or follow. That is up to you. Let's make some moolah.